Thinner is a 1996 body horror film written and directed by Tom Holland, not Spider-Man, a different one. It was based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. It stars Robert John Burke and Joe Mantegna, hopefully I'm saying that right, among others. Although panned by critics upon its release, it has somewhat gotten a cult following made up of people who seem to enjoy the film for its cheese and campiness. But how is it really? Well, let's find out. The premise of this film centers on an obese lawyer, Billy, played by Burke, who has recently been acquitted for his involvement in the death of a gypsy woman. As he walks down the courtroom steps, the father of the gypsy, played by Michael Constantine, comes up to him, recites the film's title, and thus begins a curse that will slowly begin to eat away at Billy. And soon enough, he starts to slowly lose weight. He likes it at first, given that he can eat as much as he wants and not have to worry, but the weight doesn't stop dropping. And soon what was once thought of as a blessing has now become a race against time to stop this curse before there is nothing left of him. Now, this is a fairly simple premise, but the way it plays out was just so entertaining. There was not one dull moment with this film, since it ultimately just took the insanity of the plot and dialed it up to 12 and told it in the most zany way possible. And the film managed to be very thrilling as well, since Billy is on a time limit due to the curse, which leaves us on the edge of our seats with each minute that passes, since we realize it is eating away at him more and more. And the tension just becomes more dreadful as his appearance changes drastically until he isn't even recognizable anymore due to the copious amount of weight he has lost. I give premise a B. Very simple setup told in a very spectacularly enjoyable way. Next is acting. Acting in this movie was fairly good. I do feel that Burke's acting was part of what sold how much it would suck having this curse, along with the amazing special effects, since you can tell just how hellbent he is to end it. And the desperation he demonstrates in the climax when the curse has eaten away at most of his weight, and his appearance becomes more skeletal are probably some of his best moments in this film, acting-wise. Since the desperation in his voice felt so authentic, as if the actor himself was convinced he was actually going to die. But the best was that of Michael Constantine, rest in peace, for his role as the gypsy. His performance is just so over the top and so insane that I just found myself enjoying it due to how much fun the actor had with the role. And given the wacky tone of the film, the performance is not out of place, and in fact it actually complements it in some ways. He dominated every scene he was in and was just so entertaining to watch overall. I give acting a B+. Pretty good for the most part, but Burke and Constantine were the main highlights when it came to that. The bits of family drama thrown in also felt surprisingly, albeit somewhat, real in some areas. Now, I don't have much to say on cinematography other than it was just okay. There were some really cool shots at the carnival that would help add to the creepiness, especially given that it was night for some of those scenes, as well as some fairly decent courtroom shots that were framed, fairly well. But aside from that, the cinematography wasn't too impressive to go nuts over, but also wasn't terrible. I give cinematography a B. Decent, but nothing spectacular. Okay, so the special effects is where this movie shines, and it shines like Danny Torrance every time he has another premonition. What made it especially great was just how legit and detailed it was, and part of that was due to not only the tremendous effort of the special effects team, but Burke himself as well, who had to lose 20 pounds to play the role. Like at one point, as I said, Billy started to actually look like a skeleton due to the immense weight he has lost. That is how good the special effects are. Bonus points for making him barely recognizable from how he looked at the start of the film. Same goes for the man with lizard skin, the man who started to perpetually age. The detail put on them was part of what made the effects great. Not much else to say on special effects other than, holy shit, they were good. I give special effects an A. Although I could tell he was in a fat suit at first, the rest just blew me away. Finally, directing. The approach Tom Holland took with this movie was really good because he didn't take it too seriously. This is a movie that is mostly concerned with taking on a fun ride, and holy fuck does it do that. There's just so much going on in the movie, from humans transforming animals, deranged carnies, the fucking mafia gets involved even. But while this might make this a storyline too convoluted, it ultimately worked in this movie since the laid-back direction of Tom Holland helped make it not seem overwhelming, and is actually part of why this film is so entertaining. It's campy as all hell, but I think that should be expected with most of his movies. And it more than works here, given that a lot of the characters are not very redeemable, so the camp ultimately helps us not grow too attached to them. I give directing a B+. It was cheesy as fuck, but that ultimately ended up complementing the film. Overall, Thinner is a really fun thrill ride that proves to be an awesome karma tale as well. It had so many hammed up moments that went very well with the film's overall insane tone, and just proved to be very entertaining to watch because of how wacky it was as a whole. Yes, some of the characters are extremely flawed, but since they receive some kind of punishment, they therefore aren't too insufferable to watch, given that, the curse put on them will soon take effect. Go into the movie not, expecting anything too serious, and you'll enjoy it simply because of how bonkers it can get. Like, I was too busy laughing at how crazy the film got to be bothered by any of the flaws. It was just so good in that sense. I give Thinner a B-. Not the best Stephen King movie, and it's very cheesy in some areas, but I think that's where a lot of its charm comes from. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and sub for more content.